From Little League to the pros, we've heard of athletes collapsing in extreme heat, sometimes even dying. But now in what could be the first case of its kind, Kentucky high school football coach David Jason Stinson is charged with reckless homicide in the death of a 15-year-old offensive lineman. Max Gilpin collapsed during practice in August and died 3 days later. The heat index on that day, 94 degrees. A prosecutor says the coach should have realized that players could collapse in such conditions. Are the criminal charges justified? Let's ask former prosecutor Randy Zellen and criminal defense attorney Sharon Liko. Randy, I'm going to start with you because not only have you prosecuted reckless homicide cases, but you have also defended teachers and others who have children entrusted in their care. Reckless homicide, is that appropriate in a case like this?
It is absolutely appropriate. Let's look at the definition. You cause a death and you're reckless. Now, what does it mean to be reckless? There's a risk, and here the coach knew the risk, 94-degree heat index. He knew, he had to have known what could happen. Ask the family of Corey Stringer, pro football player who died. He knew of the risk, he ignored it, and as a result of ignoring that risk, this young man died.
All right, Sharon, we noted that this may be the first kind of case of its kind. His parents had already sued in civil court. Why make this a criminal case?
What is this country coming to? It is always somebody else's fault. Nobody takes responsibility for anything they do. The kid is playing a hazardous sport. He's playing football. He's on the field. He doesn't get to leave his brain on the bench. If he needed water, he could have said so. The coach didn't do anything wrong. He followed protocol. He followed the standards that were set in place by the school. Only when it reaches 104 was the coach required to cancel practice. It was 94. The kid also had ADHD, and he was taking medication that dehydrated him. So he had special needs. Again, you know, he needed to take care of himself. And he didn't. Randy, what about personal responsibility here? When you go out for a varsity sport these days, you sign all kinds of documents that say, you know, I'm going to be responsible for what happens here. Does that give the coach any protection?
John, it's a great point, and to me it does exactly the opposite, because those releases say something really important here, which is parents, you got to have your kid listen to the coach. The coach knows better. The coach is going to help you avoid avoidable risks or unavoidable risks. And here, because that release says that, it's so clear to me that the coach is on notice. He knows better. He's got to know better. He's there to protect this kid. He didn't, and this kid's dead.
Sharon, your response to that?
Well, I think maybe when babies are born, a note should be pinned to their forehead. Halt. Life can be hazardous to your health. The releases acknowledge that this is a hazardous sport and the kid may get hurt. That is what the releases are for. And again, you'd have to show that the coach did something wrong. I mean, he did not violate any procedures that were in place. He did not do anything that was an extraordinary risk. He was just doing what coaches do. He's a drill sergeant.
Sharon Liko and Randy Zellen, we're going to continue to follow this case. Thank you both.
I just want to let you know that the White House briefing is set to start in about 5 minutes from now, top of the hour, with spokesman Robert Gibbs. Also, a friendly tennis tournament. It certainly was not. Instead of tennis balls, chairs started flying. Look at this, outside the Australian Open.
Whoa!
What in the world?